Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome. Oh, you're changing things. Okay, good start.
Okay, so let's take those 2 3 minutes. We lost Roshni. No. Anyways, we can take like those 2 3 minutes if you want to like share a bit about yourself, Patrick. How did you like grow as a salesperson? How did you start? That sort of thing. If you're
Sure,
interested, of
yeah.
course.
All right, sure. Yeah, a long time ago. I started out as a nerd, an application developer. I used to write software. I wrote payroll systems and accounting. And I think as an application developer, it was discovered that I could talk to people. So I ended up, they moved me on to help desk. And from help desk, they said, wow, you enjoy talking to people. So why don't you be in sales? So here it is over 30 years later in sales. I started in inside sales, outside sales, sales management, VP sales, to my own company, I ran my own IT company for a long time. I have a curious habit I noticed over my career of spending, say, 5 years with a small company, building small companies, and then going to work for big companies. I've worked for Oracle and Hewlett Packard and Microsoft in sales, but my heart is with small, medium-sized companies. You have more of an effect. So this is where the last part of my career is out helping small companies that, develop their sales processes and go to markets and training to help them, because without sales, all else fails, right? But again, my background is as an entrepreneur and having very fortunate to work for these large companies like say Oracle and Microsoft. They have great training, great sales training, great resources. So I used to do is go and take all the training I could and have fun for 3 or 4 years at a big company, but then really go and work for small companies or start my own small company, which I've done several times, and use all these best techniques. So what we're going to talk about today is what was part of that learning process was, okay, I've got myself a great product. I got
Yeah.
myself a market, a rough idea who I want to sell it to. How do I
What
run an outreach campaign to get in front of these people that can buy my product?
what would you say some of the things that helped you like or shaped your sales skills? Like, is it mentorship? Like, did you get feedback, or is it your personal experience, or like, what do you think,
Yeah. Oh, great
or
question.
a mix,
Um,
or
First thing comes to mind, I get this from my dad, is curiosity, about anything. So any business you walk into, it's always good to say, what do you guys do here? How do you make your money? Or how do you service your
yeah,
clients? So probably the biggest thing I think that's supported me in career and I enjoy is that curiosity. There's a tremendous variety in sales. You're selling to different companies, doing different things, especially in technology sales for 35 years. We say the only thing constant is change. Too. So curiosity for me has been an important element, and not, and I think in sales, that's you got to continue to ask the question. How can I help? What are your challenges? What are you trying to achieve, and by when? These sorts of things. So yeah, being good at asking questions. People think sometimes sales is talking. I certainly can talk, but I think the best salespeople I know are good questioners.
and listeners, right? You've said that as well before. Good
If you're going
listeners,
to
yeah.
practice, good reminder, sir. Yeah, yeah, I would say, right. People are saying, "What's the biggest skill?" And there's so much material on this. It's worth doing. Is active listening. Look that up. Active listening. Spend some time on it. Get a degree in it, right? Because then it's becoming even more important now with AI.
Yeah.
Being here.
Okay. Should we get started on today's
Sure.
topic? Okay.
Yeah.
So today's topic is running effective outreach campaigns that convert. And in SEO, for some reason, this is synonymous with spam and the way we like. I don't do outreach, just to be transparent,
Yeah.
but I know others do, and there has to be a way where it's done in a good way, in a positive way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So today we're going to discuss how to run an effective outreach campaign. And the first, okay, should I jump to the first question or?
Yeah. Great
Okay.
questions.
So the first question is, you mentioned you studied over 1.5 million sales activities. What was the biggest surprise for you? Or not necessarily one thing, what are the surprises for you in general?
Yeah, the biggest one is how quickly people give up now. I noticed that too. Think about the number of touches. First, I'm going to make a bit of a point. What you're doing when you're doing an outreach is you shouldn't be selling your company, right? Try and sell everything in that email. You're really selling a conversation. Hi, I'd like to talk to you about, right? I think is the key, in outreach, unless you're doing B2C or something like that in this mass. But when you think about break it down, most mistake people take is they've got an 8-page email outreach that says, here's everything I can do for you, right? I've always found that the less is better. Nowadays, personalization is, I've learned that as well, being personalized. So doing your homework, I guess, is the first thing. Knowing your ideal client profile, your ICP, very, very important. So I always say, start with that, know your ICP, and then know everything you can about that. I picked this as an example. Vice presidents of safety for construction firms, because that's one of the markets I went after one time. It was construction safety executives. So the tighter you can focus, that the better message you can put together in these outreaches. So you can have an outreach that says, hi, Sarah, I'd like to talk to you about everything I can do. Why am I interested? Versus an outreach that says, hi, Sarah, I know you're a VP of safety for construction. I deal with 5 other safety construction people a week. And I'd like to share with you what they're sharing with me.
I mean,
All right.
the
So
worst
it's an outreach.
outreach emails I ever personally got or even DMs on LinkedIn when people are like, hey Sarah, we can help you improve your website ranking. It's like such a slap on the face. Like, how did you manage to think I'm your like this is what I do for a living, man. You're offending me, right? Like, where did you think that
Yeah.
I'm your ideal customer, right?
Yeah.
So doing your
I get
homework,
that a lot.
yes. Please
I
do
get
your
that.
homework, people. And that's why it's called spam, because you're sending things to people who are not interested in remotely, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good point. So I like the ICP thing, homework thing. That's definitely something to start. And then you mentioned people give up too early.
Yes. Of these 1.5 million activities that we studied, all that stuff, the key learning, and this meshes with my experience, is I'm going to try to decide whether to go backwards and forwards on this. Most people give up on their outreaches after about 2, 3 tries, 3 emails, not going to get anything, it fritters away, right? What the study showed was that to get a contact, it takes 16 touches, between 12 and 16. Right. So the lesson from that is people give up way too early. Now, touches can be all kinds of different things, right? Too, you point on it too. But the lesson is it takes 12 to 16 touches. And this is borne out from my experience of 30 years of, really good outcallers and reaches and programs. Statistically, it does fall off after the first 5 to 10. Right. But if you're not doing 5 to 10 outreach touches in a campaign, yeah, you're statistically you're eliminating yourself just 1 or 2. Now, you mentioned, Sarah, about you getting lots of email,
Yes,
on there,
and it's
right?
weird. Like I worked in an agency a lot of times, and people reach out to offer pitch their SEO services sometimes. What is
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
Like
Well,
zero homework.
okay, well that's yeah. You can just kill those, ignore those. But you're like me because you're in that community. I'm in the sales community kind of thing. I'm always looking at sales tools and stuff. So I'm being sold to. So you know what I do 2 things. Yeah, I kind of ignore the stupid ones, but every now and again, and even more I'm seeing, some are pretty darn good. So I've got a little file called not bad spam. And I go, okay, because that's a good idea, the way they've done that, because smarter people than me out there.
This
So
I like this because it never came to my mind to like save a good pitch, right?
yeah,
That's
if
a
it's a
good
good one,
thing.
right? Yeah, and they're in the minority for sure, but they do come. And even then, I kind of like that person, and sometimes I'll look at what they're, because you think about it, for me, I'm being sold to by companies that sell sales tools, so they're pretty darn good, too. So I'm seeing some new ideas.
But you also mentioned 12 to 16 touch points, right?
Yeah,
To
yeah,
conversion. Okay.
yeah.
And then you said most people fall statistically between 5 and 10.
Right.
Um, how like should people keep the email sequence or whatever they're doing their outreach campaign, even if they're not getting any response?
Yes, yes. I
Okay,
answer that
be
simple. Yes.
persistent a bit. Okay.
Oh yeah. See, that's the thing, right? And again, I look at my own experience where a lot of these tools are flying by, and people are selling to me, and I see stuff that go, we all do it. That is kind of interesting right now. That's email 1 from them. Yes, I kind of am interested in voice, note taking, things like that, but not right now. I'm busy, right? So that's why in an outreach, you take customers on. First thing to think about outreach is you take them on a journey of at least 3 to 5 great things about you is what you're doing, right? So, if that you can have that visual, and sales outreach is not just, hey, I hope you, I want to call, I want to talk, I want to talk, I want to talk. The best sales outreaches I've had are giving value, sharing value. I call them educational insights over a period of 2 weeks. Every 2, 3 days, and that's kind of about the right spacing. Every 2, 3 days, here's a new insight. Hey, other safety directors like you, Sarah, are finding that if they've got this technology, it helps them with this problem. That's email number one. Email number two is, I was having an interesting conversation with my biggest client is PCL Construction the other day, and they shared this with me. So, you're giving yourself 4 or 5 chances to catch them at the right time. Go, oh yeah, right, Sarah, yeah, I do want to talk to them about that. So remember, don't give up after 1 or 2. Take them on a
Like what you
journey.
mentioned. I like what you just mentioned because the first email is not just me pitching my service. Hey guys, I can do
Yeah,
SEO for your website and I can make it better. It's the first one is like talking about a solution that other people are using and maybe the
yeah,
results they got. If I'm pitching if someone is selling a software or even selling their service, hey guys, like you
yeah,
can start with and then the second one is a conversation you had, which is
yeah,
you
yeah,
mentioned that, which is very interesting because if you email me and you tell me, hey, Sarah, let's say you're offering, I don't know, a new SEO tool, and you
yeah,
email me to pitch it, and you say, I had a conversation with whoever person, like someone in SEO that's an influencer,
yeah,
and we talked about this and that about the tool, and that's what like something around that. I would
yeah,
be a bit curious to see, okay, I'll try it. Like I like this versus, hey Sarah, this is a new tool, give it a try. I don't know, free demo, free whatever trial.
no,
It's like what you're suggesting is selling without selling versus
yeah,
just slapping the customer with the like,
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
buy this.
There's a couple of principles in sales that are principles of psychology. And I'm a little bit of a Formula One fan. So, there's in Formula One, there's the car, there's the driver, there's the engine. These things all work together, right? So to psychology, there's a couple of things when you're doing outreach campaigns, when you're sending that first email or that first connection invite on LinkedIn, right? Our brains are wired very, very quickly, literally within about 3 to 5 seconds to go one way or the other. And it's not fight or flight. It's okay. The analogy I give is as cave people, we used to walk out of the cave in the morning and something would move in the bushes and our brain had to decide really quickly, is that a saber-toothed tiger that's going to eat me? Right? Or in other words, is that an email? It's just not used to me. It's not relevant to me. Or that thing moving in the bushes, is that breakfast? Is that breakfast for me? So that's why your email, that subject line's kind of important. That first line is saying, hey, Sarah, I see we've both been in SEO for 20 years. Congratulations, kind of thing. I thought I'd reach out to you with a new idea, right? So you have to be seen in that first subject line a little bit and in that first line or
Mystic
two
20
as
years. I don't know
breakfast.
if Google will survive for 20 more years, 10 more years,
Yeah,
because
who
I've been
knows?
here for 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
But it's
that.
something
I
in
like,
common, right? That gets
yeah,
them leaning
yeah.
in, right? And it's important to say, here's what we share, or I was talking to another construction safety. You have to, your brain really quickly, and this is subconsciously and survival, is very quickly, you have to see something that I need from you or
So,
value in talking to you.
yes, I know it's irrelevant, but this is for
No.
all who's listening. SEO is not dead, and we're anticipating it to continue to live on 10 more years and more tens of years. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, just random.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's coming more and more, the human is becoming more and more important. And so,
Yeah,
SEO to me has always been
yeah,
about how do we reach the right eyeballs,
yeah,
and what are these eyeballs doing when
exactly,
we got them,
exactly.
right? So that's not going
Um,
away anytime soon.
Yeah, yeah. I really like the way you described it, like this caveman who had to analyze quickly what's coming their way and
Yeah.
make a decision if this is safe or not. And I think this is what we do all the time, not just in emails, like even on social media, we like scroll, 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 and um we just stop if there is something that catches our
Yeah.
attention. We may not be able to describe why I posted this post specifically. Is it the poster? Is it a word that's there? It's an emoji. There's something, right?
Mhm.
So yes, these what is it? Cues, right?
Yeah,
I said,
cues. That's a good way of
yeah,
putting it. Yeah.
cues. Uh, there are cues
Interests.
that show us that this email is spam. I don't need this.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's like the worst case scenario when you get hi and then between two brackets, customer name or whatever.
Yeah.
That's like someone who didn't
First
do
name
anything.
here.
Yeah, that's beyond. This is not a cue. This is like just telling us that you are not doing a good job. Okay.
Yeah, you have to pay
And we
attention.
regret that you ever was able to get hold of our email, like ever. But then there is those, hey Sarah, and then just as I said, pitching directly, like slapping you with the product.
Yeah.
You just, if you can even sense this from just the subject line, it just does not look that like
Yeah.
something I want to
Yes.
read. And if you read
So you'd
it, you
rather have
just, oh
just,
no. Yeah.
almost
And maybe
nothing,
you,
rather, yeah.
and
Yeah,
then maybe you can
exactly.
actually flag it as spam or move it to the junk or whatever, and then you never get it again. And that's like like you don't want to be there. You want to have a relationship with your customer, and outreach is. I think there's an expectation that, hey, I sent an email and they did not reply, and some people expect that one email that they should get a response like, hey, I'm interested in your stuff, let's talk.
Yeah. 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 It's I'm just thinking
Hey
what else.
Sivraj, do you have any questions? Feel free to jump in. This is like a private lesson for you right now.
Yeah, exactly. Right. This is our podcast. So
Yeah.
yeah. Me too. So again, that's psychology. That's one of the rules of psychology is recognize that you have to be seen as breakfast something really quickly. Otherwise, the alternative is you're seen as something that's going to eat me, saber-tooth tiger, or so, the analogy is that's just going to eat my time. If I get on a call with this person, I used to get those ones. Hey, I'd like to, an hour of your time to understand your business. I used to get that, and you kind of go, oh, well, that's nice and all, but who are you, and why would I
However,
spend an hour of my time educating on your business?
I
But
have like I have people book. I have a like book a call, like a free 15-minute discovery call. And then the reason I said it's 15, I can extend it to 30, but just, maybe
yeah,
we don't hit it off right away. Maybe it's not right fit.
or maybe you
And
can't help them.
some people book it to get mentorship and that sort of thing. And it annoys me because this is for customers and you're wasting my time. And I did
Mhm.
not agree to this. You just sort of
Yeah,
like trapped me in this.
yeah,
And I don't think anyone wants that, right? In any
yeah.
context.
Yeah, well, yeah, important point there. The other psychological thing about breakfast versus getting eaten is also we subconsciously trust members of our tribe. I call it member of the tribe, right? And I'll give you an example. I'm a long-suffering Canucks hockey team fan, and I live downtown. There's on a hockey game night here, there's thousands of jerseys walking around, right, with the Canucks. And I don't, nice. But I was in Europe a couple of years ago, and it was this big, huge plaza downtown, and there's thousands of people walking around, and there's a person with a Canucks jersey on, way on the other side, and I'm going, hey, hey. So we connect with people that we see as members of our community that use the same vocabulary as us, too. So I'm going to give you my best tip for a LinkedIn connection invite, right? Is when you find someone that you want to connect with, right? Is you have to be seen in that first sentence as a member of their community, because again, subconsciously, just like that's breakfast, you lean in, so my LinkedIn invites are pretty simple. I say, hi, Sarah, I noticed we both share an interest in SEO and thought we should be connected, right? Then the next line is, if any of my connections can ever be of use to you, please reach out and I'll be happy to make connections. Right. And that's it. That's my LinkedIn
That I
invite.
like, and I don't think I've ever gotten this. I like this because, yes, okay, like I'm willing to accept a connection for someone who's like in the industry, that's fine.
Yeah.
But then what happens is they say this in the beginning and then, hey, I do this, and then in the same message that they're just connected and just, like you
Well,
don't know them yet. Yeah.
it's a spirit of first it's that connection. I see we share an interest in, and I put all kinds of stuff, and it's the truth. Sales enablement. I do look at their profile. Hey, we both might have worked at Hewlett Packard at one point in time. Hey, I see we both. I use that one. Hey, I see we both survived Hewlett Packard. It's just something that gets the brain on the breakfast side. Right? Oh, okay, yeah, HB was that's great. Or yes, we do share an interest in SEO. Because the next thing they'll do, if you get by that first line, the first line is the connection. By the way, the next line is very important. The next line, if any of my connections can ever be of help to you, please reach out and I'll be happy to make introductions. It's you're making a deposit in the relationship bank. Okay. Most people, when they say, hi, Sarah, I'd like an hour of your time, they're walking into a bank saying, I'd like to withdraw some money. Do you have any money? Well, no. But if and think about why you joined LinkedIn was to make connections. So here's someone that's a member of the community, that has some connection with me, both survived Hewlett Packard. And, you know, yeah, I may be able to use those connections one time. I remember the last time I was looking for a job, I had no connections. So the next thing they'll do is either accept it or they'll look at your LinkedIn profile. So when you're doing it, here's another tip on the outreach campaign. Whoever's name is on it, very, very important. Whoever's name is on that outreach, right? Just like a resume, the first half of their LinkedIn profile has got to resonate with that outreach group, that ICP. And you know, LinkedIn profiles are fairly malleable. It doesn't have to be a lot, but you know, when I was like, I'm not a construction safety executive, right? But when I was reaching out to this group, running an outreach campaign to these people, I just made sure, you know, I just put you know, construction safety up there. I put a picture of a guy with a hard hat, and I reposted a couple of articles on construction safety, so that's at the top of my window. So when you think about that person looks at my LinkedIn connection, it's oh, let's check out Patrick, right? They see a guy in a construction hat, they see a construction article. Okay, remember my tribe. This is not some kid with a tie, right? You know, too. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah,
So
makes
an
sense.
important
Totally.
part of an outreach is to be ready because they're gonna, you know, what
Okay,
happens when
that's
they
good. That's good that you raised this point. Outreach is not just sending an email, it's an entire system. Like you
oh
need your
yeah,
profile in place. You need to
you
know
gotta be
what,
ready. Yeah.
like, you got to be ready, right? And it's not just sending one email and keep following up, like any updates, pushing this out
Mhm.
to the top of your inbox. Like that's not
Yeah.
outreach. That's just annoying,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And again, you gotta be ready for hopefully a bump in business, and it's not gonna happen for 3 to 6 weeks, just so you know, because remember you're gonna be touching with them here and there's, you know, relates and stuff too. So but you gotta be
I've
ready when they do
noticed.
call.
Okay, does your choice of channel for outreach matter? Because I've been getting recently outreach on WhatsApp and it's really, really annoying for me. Like I did
Mhm.
actually ask one person, with all due respect, I don't like maybe it's a
I don't
different,
know
I don't
you.
know, maybe I'm weird, maybe people are okay with this, is just me, I don't know. But I asked them, hey, where did you get my number? And they said there's a plugin on LinkedIn where they can pull your number from the profile.
Oh yeah, mine knows.
Um, and I think also being smart and picking the right, I mean, email is professional, this is
Mhm.
where you should go. I don't think you should go, I don't know, what are your thoughts on this?
It depends on your audience. Where does your audience, my first thought is where does my audience learn? Right? Where do they go to learn? Right? Is that, you know, is that LinkedIn groups? Is that you know, if you can, right? You know, because my outreach campaigns are generally around what insights can I share with you ahead of time, just enough to kind of get you to go, okay, Patrick knows what he's talking about. I'm gonna give him a half hour of my time, or I want to talk to him about this, right? Or
Yeah.
two. So it depends on the channel, and I don't want to block anything out. You know what I mean? And especially with nowadays, I'm a part of the old guard here, but you know, you look at okay,
No, I feel
if I got a
B2B.
25-year-old construction safety executive, I'm interested if he's on Instagram. Sorry, go ahead.
I okay.
Uh,
I
I'll
mean,
share one thing quick with WhatsApp though. With WhatsApp or cell phone numbers, or because I get asked that a lot, texting,
yep,
right? What about texting as an outreach? So real quick on that, I
yeah,
just sort of say, you know, if you got their cell phone number, you have to be very, very, very careful. Like,
yes.
you know, and that's a valuable thing. Don't abuse it, right? No, not to so that it's, you know, but use it right. And that's where you really got to say when I'm reaching
I
out to someone going, "Hey, Sarah, happy Friday afternoon." Sure, go
yeah.
ahead. Go
No, I
ahead,
just
please.
I feel like I'm just trying to figure out, like, if someone wants to do outreach, I don't think, like, whatever they're gonna reach out, I just wanna,
Mhm.
I think they should make sure this is not like a personal account or a personal, like, if you know someone is
Uh,
on Instagram, like he's in construction, and you know they're on Instagram, and this is their personal Instagram account,
right.
not like a construction company thing, and they're an executive. What do you think?
Want a friend, get a dog. This is business. You know, if you got a way to reach out to that person like that and you know it's good, then my thoughts, try it personally
Why
first.
I'm not good at sales. Like that's why I am not good at sales. I'm not good in pitching or in trying to like
Oh yeah,
I,
you
I
are.
just I'm the like, hi guys, this is what I do. Let me know if you're interested.
Well, along that lines, I'd rather hear, "Hi, I'm Sarah. You know, as you've seen, I've been 30 years in the business. I'd like to share with you, you know, 2 or 3 things I've learned. You know, and
Hopefully 20 more and I'll be a veteran.
yeah, I don't know, so much change these days too. I mean, AI itself is another big knuckle
Yeah.
change too.
Yeah. And
Um,
Actually, that's one of the things that, if you remember, I mentioned last time, I'm doing a master's degree and I'm thinking of switching my focus to something AI because that's more relevant to what I'm doing. But yeah, I mean, let's see.
It's changing everything. Yeah, no doubt. No, I use it daily, right? In lots of different ways. It's amazing tools, stuff I'm doing. Yeah. I want to share a screen real quick here. Can I do that? I wonder. I think I have to
Yep,
send
of
you a
course, of
request here.
course.
So
Sivraj, feel free to jump in anytime.
yeah.
Yeah, we're happy that you're here.
Let's see if
Our
I can
biggest
share here.
fan today.
Yeah, exactly.
So, sorry,
This
actually,
is
I
one
have
of
a question. May
Please.
I
Go
ask
ahead.
after the session?
Anytime. You want
Certainly.
to ask now, you want to ask in the chat, you want to wait till the
Please go
end,
ahead.
all works.
Okay, thank you. So, what are the strategies I can do to improve my brand visibility through outreach? Because I'm
You
facing some issues. Yes, actually, I'm working for a company. So,
yeah.
where we are facing some issues to reach or improve our brand visibility through newsletter outreaches. So,
Okay.
what may be the best strategies to improve that brand visibility in the
Uh,
in the
and
market?
and what are you looking to improve? You cut out there a little bit.
Sorry, actually, I'm working for an healthcare company.
Okay,
Okay,
healthcare.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
what we do is we regularly publish news articles. So I mean newsletters. Okay,
Right.
so
Good.
but what we are getting is we are getting very bit low traffic through our newsletters, and
Yeah.
we couldn't convert people to our as our what kind of uh, as our audience or to the.
Okay.
Okay, so I personally think there is an issue in the news article. I mean the newsletter. So, what may be the best strategies to improve the sales and uh, improve the email traffic?
So response rates, eh? So
Yes.
what do you sell to healthcare and your
Yes.
main outreach campaign, if I understand, isn't by a newsletter.
Yes. Of
Did I
course.
understand? Okay. Okay, cool. And then what do you sell? What kind of product do you sell?
So actually, we are a second opinion platform
A second opinion
consultation.
platform. Okay.
Second. Yes.
Yeah, okay, okay, perfect. So it's a SaaS kind of
Yes.
subscription base. Okay, perfect. Oh, cool. Nice. Okay, good stuff.
Not sorry,
Uh,
not exactly, but it is kind of.
yeah,
We are a
okay, just getting
consultation
a rough
platform.
idea. Yeah,
Uh,
on that. Okay. It's but how many people subscribe to the newsletter? Just to give me some scale.
Probably 20,000.
20,000? Okay, okay.
Yes.
Not bad. Hey, Sarah, not bad. Yeah. Uh,
1,500
you know,
only, so
so I mean,
still growing my newsletter. No, that's not gonna. I'm gonna be
yeah,
optimistic. I'm gonna get.
yeah. That's, you know what? I have to say, first off, if newsletter is important like that, I'm always saying, it's open up, the database and
Mm.
call, I guess, a few, if you can, people that open the newsletter. So I'd almost say, have a calling campaign to 100 of your subscribers now. And if you can
Mm.
find out what the ones that opened it and the ones that didn't, and find out what they were looking for. I mean, that's my first thought is to define the main challenges of my ICP, my ideal client profile. I'd move upstream a little bit, Shiraj, with that one have you defined really well your ideal client profile? Now that would be who in the healthcare authorities, I used to sell to healthcare, who in healthcare makes a decision to acquire a second advice service like yours. So if you've sold it to some people already, I always like talking to my existing clients. Hey, Jude, thanks for buying my product. Is everything going away? Okay. Do you have any suggestions for us for improvement? Things like talking to my existing client. And then at the end of that, I'm able to turn around and say, what's missing? What else would you like to see? Right? Or what challenges are you having? So I try where possible not to lose sight of the individual clients that I have. They're a great source of information in terms of what are you doing right. When I used to take over a new job, I used to call it a KISS. I used to do a KISS survey. And you talk to someone, and you'd say K stands for in KISS. Hey, Mr. Customer, you open our newsletter. Thanks very much. What do you like about it? What should we keep doing? K is keep. keep doing. And they'll say, well, I like this article. I like your links to this, or I like that. Perfect. The I in KISS is, okay, good. Thanks for liking those things. What do you think we can improve on? Right, in the newsletter, and that's when they'll say, well, this and I need that. Then there's the first S, after we say they've told you everything that they think you can improve on. Say, is there anything we should stop doing? Anything that we do that, is not useful to you or annoying, or, like Sarah, don't send bad emails, you know. And then, the final S is, what should we start doing? We're looking for new ideas from customers. What areas around getting a second opinion, do you see growth or new opportunities, or have you seen innovation or any challenges around? What should we start looking at doing for you? So that's a KISS. Does that make sense, Raj? Yes. And just at random, talk to some customers, have a little campaign, say, I'm going to talk to 20 customers. That's a service actually we used to pay people for. Here's 20 customers. We would pick out 10 customers that bought from us, and we pick 10 customers that didn't buy from us. And we would pay a company to call them and say, hey, you bought from Patrick or you didn't buy from Patrick. Can we ask you some questions? Too. So, a KISS. Give your customers a KISS.
Actually add this to my next newsletter, like, hey guys, at the end, like, or somewhere, embed this somewhere, like, guys, if you can let me know what to keep, what to improve, what to stop, and what to start. Like I really like this because I have a button and a dislike button, but I don't think that's enough. Like a few people stop to like, and that's it, but you're not clear about what's the value for them there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess the final point is, have conversations, if you're having a bad day, yesterday, if I'm having a bad day in sales, I've just been hung up on, or, told to go away, something like that. I turn around is over the years, I just call some of my favorite clients, and they're happy to hear from you, because your favorite clients, you've done good business for them, right? So, it never hurts to put on a little campaign to say, this week or this month, I'm going to talk to 10 customers, actual humans, get them on the call, on the line, and say, what should we keep doing? What can we improve on? What do you think we should stop doing and start doing? You gather, oh my God, we've gotten some great insights from doing that, and at the end of it. And by the way, once you've done that, let's say I've called a construction safety executive, did my little KISS thing, and talked to him, I got my information. I've got a bunch of insights, so now the next call is not a cold call anymore. Next time I reach out to a cold call, a construction safety executive or a healthcare executive, right? A healthcare application executive like that, you're able to say with authority, hey, Sarah, I just yesterday spoke with the healthcare application buyer for St. Christian's Healthcare, and he's telling me these things. What do you think? You with me? So you're using what you learned from your client conversations in your next client conversation, and then you're eventually you roll that into an outreach campaign. Hey, I talked to 10 healthcare executives, and here's what they told me. Interesting, eh? So you remember their community now, which is important. Remember the tribe. You become a healthcare executive, valuable person. Helps with cold calling too, right? Because then you finally do cold call and they know who you are. Oh, hi, sir. Yeah, I've been reading your articles. Thanks for the note.
If you call someone, but they know you on some level, but versus just
yeah.
Well, the slap. Let's avoid the slap.
The slap, yeah, pitch slap we were talking about. They get pitch slap.
Yeah, let's avoid slapping people.
Well, my whole outreach strategy of, make deposits first, right? Teach them a few things, offer to make connections for them, make deposits first. That comes from my total abject fear of cold calling. I hate call. Oh, hi, sir. I don't know. You don't know me. Oh my God. Like everybody else, 90% of the population out there hate cold calling. So my strategy was to make sure when I did call them, there was a real good chance they'd heard from me. Because, Pat, I've been getting your emails now for 4 weeks, but meaning to say hello. Anyway, it's not a cold call anymore. You can even just start by saying, hey, I know I've been sending you emails, but it's not a cold call. It just gives you something to talk about, right? Go ahead, Suraj.
Yes. I could understand. Yeah.
Yeah. So healthcare, newsletter is nice, but that doesn't replace that human connection, right?
Yeah.
No, I
Yes.
could be wrong. I mean, your subscription could be $20 a month, so it's maybe expensive to have a person call. There's lots of questions around sales and your go-to-market strategy, right? In terms of, I always look at how long it takes me to sell one of my applications. If it takes me 2 weeks I work out how much money I want to make in 2 weeks for commission, and it better be worth it, right? I had a lady once
Well,
said, yeah, I worked 10 months in that deal, but I finally got it, and what was the deal? It was $20,000. What was your commission? $200. Oh my God, it's like $5 an hour. Don't ever do a deal like that again. You know, sorry, go ahead, Fred.
if, what if he can do like one-to-one calls? Because as you said, the subscription is $20 a month. But what if he has like a general call for everyone? Like some people do that, like for the older customers, like I don't know, monthly or quarterly or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think all kinds of little great ideas on that, like customer council. You have a couple of good clients. I used to do that from time to time. If it was big, the average sale size was big enough, you know what I mean? That's important, right? You got because your time is important, and you can't be working 5 hours to close a deal that's going to make you $5. You know,
Don't do
it
that.
doesn't.
Yeah.
You don't do that exactly. But on the flip side, when I did a lot of large account enterprise sales. And where it would take, you would plan to take 6 months to a year before you ever saw $1, right? Because you're selling to a large company and there's a committee sell. So that would be my question as well in healthcare, Savraj, is if it's an expensive enough product, there's probably a buying committee in healthcare. Like there's IT might have to sign off on it, security has to sign off on it, the doctors have to sign off on it, right? That's another thing I'd be looking at is how do they make decisions like this and who is involved, right? Because purchasing is going to be involved sooner or later. And I always believe, if you're going to sell to a big organization, you want a PO, right? Want a purchase order, and that comes from somebody. So, if you are selling, we'll come back to outreach. If you're doing outreaches and they take a lot of time, be prepared to spend that time at it. Be persistent. That's what we started the call. That takes time. Um,
Okay.
Hopefully that answered your question. I mean, low traffic? Um, I mean, low traffic means low engagement, which typically means low interest, which means you haven't kind of got them to see that bushes moving in there's breakfast, right?
Yes.
That's I think is important.
So
Yeah, you might want to, but that's not such a nice database too. The other thing, one of my favorite activities when you're doing outreaches is you're working towards something. It's not just 5 emails and you're off, that's it, drop them, never see them again. It's part of a long-term plan. So I may do my sequence. Actually, I was going to share my screen here. Have you seen the, hang on here. I'm going to share my screen.
Shared. It's shared. The
Oh,
cohesive.
the journey. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, the
it's there.
journey. Yeah,
Yes.
that's one of my clients. So this is one part of the journey, right? That kind of takes them to, I was meant to show this the other way around. You kind of take them down this journey here. And next list. But at the end of this, by the way, one of my 1, 2, 3, 4, usually about here, 4 or 5. So this might be a good one for you. I used to like to put on some sort of a community event, much like Sarah's doing here. So I would find, a really good client or somebody I respect in the industry, and I would have a webinar. So my third or fourth email is an invite to a community event for others like them, healthcare executives, right? To join your colleagues on this important topic. Does that make sense? That to me, I wasn't just doing the emails. The first email is almost always credibility. So that's Sarah saying, I've got 30 years in SEO. I was doing SEO before SEO was cool. It's that first catcher.
I've been doing it for 10 years. Some people are like have been doing it for way longer. But 10 years is a lot as well. And hopefully
Yeah,
I'll get to 20 years. I'll survive.
yeah, I know. It's all going to change. So that first one is emails, usually credentialing. Hi, I'm an expert in this industry, and I've talked to others like you. Here's a couple of learnings I teach people. Did you know you do this, do this? By the time I get into here, and especially if you got any analytics on open rates, that's helpful. But you get to there, I'm usually sort of saying, okay, listen, I'm not going to bug you too much more, but I'm building a group, or I'm putting on this event, and come and hear this person speak. When I was doing the construction safety group, like that across America, right? I found this guy who was like a construction safety. He was a VP of construction safety for a $7 billion construction company. Great guy, and I saw that he taught a lot. So I just reached out to him and said, hey, Richard, I run a small group. Would you come and speak to this group of young construction safety executives? They'd love to hear anything you want to share. So I would say, Sebastian, an idea is to pick a topic, an event, and maybe a person, and that be your kind of email 4 or 5 is to say, I'd like to invite you to an event. And what you're doing then, Raj, that's kind of shaking the bushes. And if you get, geez, I got that for that particular event, I got 28 construction safety executives on the line like this, all sharing their biggest problems, which for a salesperson is your dream, right? Too.
People like to complain, so that's a place for them to like just say, hey, this is what's
Yeah.
going on and we don't like this, and they'll be super happy. Like there's collective agreement, and yeah.
Yeah. And you're not seen as a salesperson. You're seen as a connector now. You're a member of the tribe. They take your call right after that. So I say, email 4 or 5 usually is I plan some event, and I put that event way out to like 8 weeks. So it gives me lots of time to invite. But again, that's part of that building that making deposits into the relationship bank of sharing insights, offering to connect, inviting them to with the community events with their colleagues. It's all about community these days, by the way. That's the hottest word, is how do I build a community?
Yes, you're totally right. And I'm actually, when we're talking about this sequence, I'm not sure if that's relevant to you, Sivraj, but always think of the communities. I'm thinking you're sending an email to many people, and you're trying to bring them together around your product or service. Obviously, there has to be something in it for them. So in a way, you're building a community, even if it's not like a Slack or a group, it's a mental community. Like people feel we belong to this tool. Like we all are, interested in this or that sort of thing. So sometimes it's we used to call it brand loyalty, right? Maybe, but now it's community, right?
Or tribe. I love the word tribe. Remember the tribe?
Yeah, tribe, right.
And that goes to that psychology, right? We used to live in tribes of 100 to 125 people is about the max. So that's about how many kind of friends we can have. So
do you think 20 to 35 people, is that why a lot of classrooms are 25 students?
I heard it was 125 as the biggest kind of tribes
Okay.
to have, but yeah, that makes sense to me. 20, I think about 20 to 30 is more what an instructor can handle. I think more. That's the
I mean,
limitation,
to older grades, maybe, I don't know. It depends on
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, 30 grade 5s. Oh my God.
They couldn't pay me enough to be in that classroom, I tell you. I have 3 kids and they couldn't, there's no amount of money can compensate me for this.
My daughter teaches grade 5 and 6. So,
Oh my God.
oh
She
yeah,
deserves a Nobel Prize.
and she's 6 months pregnant. She's just the calmest, most in control. You know what I mean? It's like she just, no, we're not going to do that. So I think her calm presence calms the kids.
Teaching is not for everyone.
No,
It's not about calmness. It's also about resilience, I would say, like being able to, right?
Yeah. Well, we'll come back to outreach. Outreach is about resilience too, right? To do that. Now with outreach campaigns, people listening to this, join because they want to know more about outreach sequences. I have sort of colleagues of mine that do nothing but this. So the first thing I would say is, if you have the budget, and I'm going to give you some numbers, between 5 and 10,000 a month, it's Canadian, give you an idea. That's about what you'd pay sometimes an outbound development rep. You know what I mean? A salary. I would encourage people to look at services, especially good ones, that will run these things for you for about that much money. And what they bring to the table is all kinds of cool stuff for outreach campaigns. Is omni-channel, because they've got a good experience with that, I found. List cleansing and maintenance. They're very good about going through and cleaning out a bunch of stuff and bounce backs and stuff to do that. Little things I learned is they're very good about not burning your domain, right, on spam lists, things like that. You know what I mean? They know how to protect you, things like that too. So I used to say to my kid, let a pro teach them to drive. I would encourage you to look, if you are getting serious about it, campaign and you have the budget for it, you can put one of these companies, and I can know if you can email a couple if you want. Email me and I can refer you, but that do it really well. And I tell you why, just even recently, like last week, I saw a demonstration by one of these companies about what they do to find the names, to test the emails, to really stack the deck in your favor and increase your response rates. That's what they do, right? And they get paid when there's a meeting. You know what I mean? Which is kind of nice, right? It's too. So anyways, I'm encouraging outreach campaigns to the more and more research. I used to do it myself for years. Right? Oh my God, I used to do fax. I used to set up a bunch of phone numbers and just spam people's fax machines.
God, fax. 30 years
By
veteran.
fax.
I should have knew that you would. Oh, fax. It's very interesting.
Oh,
Oh my God. And how did
predates
that
fax.
work out? How is that different than modern day email?
Funny story. Fax is,
Yeah.
on this. So, and I had this list I acquired of all these fax machines. So I had a fax board in my PC that would do this. And, I got a call after things been running for about 2 months. This guy calls up and goes, "Can you take me off your list?" And because I would do these things overnight, right? And he's going, "You somehow have my home number." So this poor guy, for like every 2 weeks for the last, 3 or 4 months, at about 3 in the morning, the phone would ring. He said, "I had to bring home a fax machine and plug it in to capture who was doing this." Actually let the fax come in so we knew who was doing it right at the time. Anyway, going back. There's just so many different ways. But I did it with the cadence. If I could give you the broadest way I do it is for humans is I try and do LinkedIn first, because I do a lot of my research when I'm developing my ICP and my go-to-market strategy for outreaches is I start in the a lot of times I start in the groups on LinkedIn, because that's where you can find a community of construction safety executives. You can find a group, Suraj, of healthcare executives. I like to do is identify, kind of, I call them purple squirrels, is a particular person or a group of people in LinkedIn that go, "Oh, this gal is the perfect for me. She's in charge of second opinion application decisions." You know what I mean? She's just going, and I study those people, and I look at what groups they belong to, and so you spend a bit of time learning where that person learns, right? And then that helps build your ICP, which helps build your message that you're going to go back to and say, "Here's why, I'm different, right? Here's how I can help you." So that's a long-winded answer on that. But it's persistence, preparation up front, and then persistence. But yeah.
Something, can I ask now, or
Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
Sivraj, do you have any questions before I jump in with a question? Do you need your
Actually,
screen shared, Patrick, or
I'll stop it now. Yeah.
go ahead,
Sorry.
Sivraj.
I have I
Yeah,
have a
go ahead.
question, which is, um, what is the best template, best outreach template that you ever have?
Outreach template.
Probably,
I think it's not going to be a template like a sequence, you mean?
yes,
Right,
outreach template.
Patrick?
Probably when the user comes.
Yeah. Okay. Hang on here.
Well, you said 12 to 16 touch points, so we need 12 to 16 emails.
No, not that. No, it depends what the touch points are, right? And a touch point is any touch point. I'm going to share my screen again real quick. Just to scare you here. Hang on. Like this is an outreach, an example one for those who like flowcharts, right? Too. So and by the way, a touch is any touch at all, and it's amazing how quickly it builds up. So that, for example, that LinkedIn is a touch, right? If it's just straight email, a reply is a touch, and stuff too. So every email. So in this case, it would be let's see, one email. They would call. They say send an email, and in 2 days. Do call number one. If you can see that. I'm sorry, I'm trying to make it a little bit bigger here. So this is an example. So, and then you develop a script for this call, right? And then after that call number one, if you leave a voicemail, you send a follow-up email. "Hi, I left you a voicemail." So these are touches, right? So one touch, two touch, three touches, right there. 3 days later, you call again. "Hi, just reaching out. If you left a voicemail, kind of, it's, again, another touch, right? But again, you send an email. "Hey, just touch base again." So quickly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You know what I mean? And it could be a few more in between if you send us some other stuff. So, but you do follow this sequence, and in these roughly this timing. So I don't know if you want to grab a screen of this, but this is what I would call the fat spot in the types, because you can do 8 outreach sequences. You can do 2, right, interspersed. But this is kind of what I would call a typical one. Does that make sense, Raj?
Yes. Sorry. What if I have an option to call?
To
What can
call?
I do? Yes.
You haven't, what if you have an option to call?
We don't have an option to call because
Oh, I see. Yeah,
maybe
yeah, I see.
probably.
Yeah, yeah. That's not unusual. Yeah, yeah. Then it's email. Email. The other option, again uh, I like LinkedIn. You can start doing in-mails, although those are starting to get a bit tired now, right? In-mails too. People are rejecting those. You got to find out how. So it's either email. Call. You can call the hospital. Too. So you do whatever you can. But if you got 20,000 emails right now, that's a pretty good start,
Okay.
right? On that, too. So you should be able to do that. But again, if you don't have calls, you don't have calls. And now what you can do sometimes, right, is again use a service or like Zoom Info or something too, to see if you can find that they may be able to enrich your data with phone numbers. So, and by the way, this company I saw yesterday, that's what they could. I don't know if they'd be able to do it in whatever market you're in, but they have they gather the best sources. So if I give them a list of emails like that, I got a client, this Cohesive guys I just showed you, they have like 16,000 emails. So the first step that this group is going to work with them is going to take their 16,000, thank you, and they're going to match it up and see how many phone numbers that they have from their other data sources like Zoom Info and LinkedIn to see, okay, how many of your target market can we get phone numbers for? And then they'll run a phone campaign for them, right? So you may want to look at something like that. Send off your 20,000 names to a company to say, can you enrich this data to see if you can come up? And if you came up with 3,000 phone numbers, that's pretty good. You get yourself a little bit of a phoning campaign ready to go there. And by the way, talk about the next step. I saw an AI tool the other day that it does avatars. So you get an avatar to call for you. The avatar, hi, Sarah, I'm Patrick. Like
We should do that, right? Like we're trying to be personalized and like have this human experience. So I think it should be like one-to-one.
I think, well, Salesforce is thinking of laying off the bottom third of their Salesforce for a reason, right? And that's because, you know what, all these kind of entry level small business, they have very basic questions. And as we've seen with AI, it can answer pretty good job of doing basic questions, right? Almost qualifying questions. They can run a sales call on that. So if that answers your questions, Raj, it is, take your 20,000 names. That's a great start. Start to enrich
Mm.
that in some way, to find those phone numbers. And there's companies that can do it, or you can just, as you go through, I'm a CRM nut. I love CRM. I've been using CRM since floppy disks, right? Which goes back to even before fax
Floppy
machines.
desks, we're going back.
Oh,
We take
oh
it back.
yeah. I got the punch cards for God's sakes.
I'm look, I mean this in a good way, like it's nostalgic. I'm not saying it
Yeah.
like
That's
I
the
respect
last.
you, Patrick, a lot, and I respect your experience. I always like anytime I bring up Sound Like a Marketer, I always say Patrick is like a wealth of sales
A
knowledge,
library.
sales veteran. So yeah, I just I come off in a negative, like, a wrong way sometimes, but
No.
yeah. Also, old
Not
is
too.
gold. So
Exact. Oh, that's a new one. I write that one down. So Suraj, like you say, you got if you got 20,000 subscribers now, you got email. That's a hell of a good start. Start there, and start enriching. And then once you get the phone numbers, you can add phone numbers. But in the meantime, you're just going to do an email sequence. At the end of the call, Sarah's going to publish a link to a PDF to a white paper. Suraj, it's by a company called Xant, Xant. And it's great. It's actually 2 or 3 years old, but they were so ahead of their time. And that's where actually the 1.5 million sales activities came from. And what they do is there's great material in there on how to decide what the sequence is. There's great material in there on how do you do the email? What does the email should look like? So it's going to be a real handy guide for everybody on the call. It's the Xant sales cadence guide. And again, we'll publish that, and I'm sure Sarah can even put up a QR code for it when we're done. All right, but
is
it
is
answers.
the only way a QR code? Is there like a direct link or something?
Yeah. I think if you go to I think it's Xant.com or Xant.ai, Xant,
just
and
share the link. I'll yeah, share the link with me.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we'll share it back out
yep,
again. But
yep.
it's just it's a white paper they publish. It's free, and but it was just I've used it in my training a lot just because it is a study of 1.5 million sales activities, right? Yeah, it's based on
Crazy.
fact.
That's a huge number. That's
It is, yeah,
gigantic. Yeah.
what I liked about you, what was most surprising, what I liked about it is it kind of meshed with my experience that, people give up early on outreaches, before. Plan the whole program like this, like I'm showing you here, with all the steps, lay it all out. One of the biggest challenges used to be, in stuff like this are these green boxes, which are the content. What's the script for the voicemail? What's the script for the email? We spend a lot of time doing that. And that's what this document does, by the way. If I slide down, it's got these emails. They're already laid out in there, right?
Patrick, you don't want me ever to be on your sales team. Like I give up before starting. Even
Well, there you go. There's the value of this outreach. This is why this
I'm trying to learn, but it's yeah.
No, you got and by the way, the nice thing about it, if you do this properly, and again, I can publish this worksheet here too, is you challenge yourself to have all this stuff in place before you ever hit that first send. Too. So, and that way you're ready, right? You start to follow a sequence. Or again, I would sort of say if you have the budget, 5 to 10K, 10K will get you just gold service of getting someone doing this for you that's really good at it. You just maximize your response rates, right? Because really what this all does, but by the way, here's another important kind of Pat Hogan maxim here. Outreaches are not to sell your whole product line. Outreaches are to sell a conversation with an expert. Right?
Ah.
Be it online or you know what I mean? It's you want it, if you want them, you want to have a sales call, particularly if you're doing B2B and you're going to be a human. This whole cadence I would do here is not about, hey, I want to sell you everything I got. This whole cadence is here. You're sharing some information and you're selling a conversation because you've probably got a few more recent insights to share with them, right? So you're selling that conversation with an expert.
Yes.
There's a lot more we can still cover on outreach. Do you think we should have another outreach session or should we move to another topic next time?
Let's ask a customer. Let's ask Raj. What do you think, Raj? I'm sure we'll come up with something good.
Yeah.
Raj, did we not cover anything? What did you have something you were hoping to get out of today that we
Maybe
didn't
we
touch
could have
on?
discussed like an example sequence, for example, right? Like how to use automation, like few of the things. I mean, it's totally up to you how I'll share on LinkedIn and see what people say, but we can also come up with our own decision. So yeah.
No shortage of topics, right? No shortage of topics there too. Yeah, you and I can talk offline, but I think some of the more recent topics I would suggest is how to use AI to build these sequences. That might be the next, might be part 2.
Yeah, that would be okay. Yeah, we can like wrap up any points we've missed, and then we can also
So
okay,
I'm gonna forgive me sliding by real fast here because I know I'm still sharing, but I'm just gonna get down here. Oop. Let's see. So this is, these are we did EMF, right? Emotional messaging framework way back. That's part of that. I'm sliding down to the cadences.
Actually, we were gonna do it, but then we didn't. We were gonna do a session. Yeah.
Okay. So here, here's an example. Hi, I'm so and so with my company. And this is 2 MSPs, managed service providers. So we get right to it. We provide MSPs with an AI agent. Right, that builds. This is what we heard from MSPs when we talked to them. You said, why are you interested in AI? And they said, well, because our customers are calling us up and you're our technology provider. We want to have an AI conversation, or we got an AI idea. So MSPs, their biggest business problem is they're going, well, we don't know how to talk about AI yet. We don't have a product. What does it mean, right? So this company Cohesive is reaching out to MSPs and saying, we can be your AI conversation, too. So that, so you see what we wrote, we hear from MSP clients that the early adopter clients want to have the AI talk. And it's true. I went out and talked to the MSP clients. And why did they reach out? So because, so-and-so, my best client came to me and said, I got an AI idea. And he says, if I don't help him solve that AI idea, he's going to go to another company and ask. And I don't want him going to some of my competitors, right? Anyways, so that we can cover off that, creating these outreach sequence texts on the next call. I'm just looking through those great questions. Yeah, you went earlier on. So again, don't give up. Touch, and there's lots of touch points, lots of ways to do it. You're driving a meeting, you're selling a conversation, and here's the thing to be comfortable with, Sarah, you too, everybody, you are an expert. You do know a lot of things, right? And you're happy to share them. That's the nice thing about sales. The best salespeople I know want to help people, and what better way to help people and to share things that have helped other people like them. That's what they want. one of my best clients is a CIO for the third largest school district in Canada. He's got 125,000 students, big guy. And he says, Pat, I get these salespeople call up and say, hi, Dan, I want an hour you and your team. He says, you and your team's time to understand your needs. He's going, no way, my team is maxed out. I'm not going to, he says, Pat, if somebody calls me up, he says, like I did, he said, I called him up this way and said, hey, Dan, Pat, I sell school software. I deal with the other 5 largest school districts in Canada. I'd like to jump on a call and perhaps I can share with you some things they're doing, and how perhaps we can help you. He says, I'd take that call every day because I wish I had time to talk to the other 5 colleagues. And if you're telling me you talk to them, I'll take the call with you. Going to save me some time. I might even bring my team in if I like you. Right? Anyway, poor Sarah. I mentioned Sarah in one of my earlier calls. In sales, you learn not to talk too much. Of course, and now you're doing podcasts, you're expected to talk all the time. So I cringe every now and then.
But it's a skill that helped me. Like yesterday, I had a session and I was able to keep the conversation going. Like I learned a bit. So that's
curiosity.
That's nice. Yes.
Curiosity. That's a good endpoint there. Be curious, right? About what.
Yeah. Thanks, Raj, for joining us, and thanks for whoever's going to watch this on YouTube. I'm sharing the video recording right afterwards with a resource from Patrick as well. And see you next month. If you have any specific topic you want to chat about, let us know. Otherwise, we're going to come up with something, maybe AI outreach, rest of the outreach points. Who knows? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you, both of you.
Raj.
Thank you. Had a great time.
Will do.